Live from the Spill Studios, located behind a highly trafficked liquor store in the French Quarter, it's time once again for a couple of cold ones with Corey and Carlisle.
No, that's Leon that is in the French Quarter. I'm here in Austin, Texas. Leon went to New Orleans, and even though the Super Bowl was played in Miami, I imagine that he's somewhere probably throwing up between a stripper's boobs right now. So,
and you're jealous. Because you're here with me. Two choices in this world: throw it up between a stripper's boobs somewhere, or being here with Carlisle. I think you're taking stripper's boobs. I'm taking stripper's boobs, and I'm the one stuck here with Carlisle.
Even if the tits have vomit on them, yes, I'm a little envious. I mean, no offense to you, it just seems like that's a more happening place right now where he's.
One of those two cleans up well with a towel. That's all I'm saying.
And it ain't Leon. So, so yeah, did you watch the Super Bowl tonight? Speaking of which,
I did not.
What did you end up doing?
Honestly, I've been watching this TV show with my wife. We've been watching this show Defying Gravity, which is coming out on DVD, and they sent it to me, and we started watching it yesterday. And I was just like, I don't care about either of the teams in the game, and at the same time, all of the commercials that are going to be any good are going to be online afterwards. So why am I going to go and sit down and watch this and listen to a bunch of my friends complain about having to watch the game? So I was like, you know what? I'll just set this one out.
Yeah, I mean, commercial-wise, it was all Doritos. It was Budweiser and Doritos, pretty much. I can't remember hardly anything in between that.
The one I saw that I really liked was the Google one, the How to Impress a French Girl.
Did not see that one.
Oh, that one's online. That one's a bit of a tearjerker for folks. It's a brilliantly produced commercial because it required no production value at all. It's literally a camera staring at Google, but how they do it with the audio track and what they Google and the story they tell in 54 seconds is actually really pretty good. It's very well done.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Well, like you said, be on the internet. I must have been shitting at the time or something that came on. But, it was a good game either way it goes. I mean, if you just like to watch a game, because, like I said, I don't have any stake in any football teams. I'm not getting a fucking paycheck from any of that. So, but it was cool. It was almost like if you were a Colts fan, your heart got broken and your ass got handed to you. It was almost like Peyton Manning wanted to give that game away in the fourth quarter.
I thought Colts fans always had their hearts broken. I thought that's what they do pretty much professionally.
Well, then that shit got stumped on the ground and stepped on and trampled on and pissed on tonight because it was like it was a tight game up until the fourth quarter, and then the Saints scored a touchdown that was challenged. I mean, this is what was so cool about the game. Like, it was one of those moments that keep you on edge. It was like Lance Moore had he had caught the ball kind of in the end zone, and he held on to the ball, so you couldn't tell if he was in or not. And on top of that, you couldn't tell if he actually had a grasp of the ball because it got kicked out of his hand. And they did a replay of it, and they showed him hold on to the ball. He was inside, and I already put the Saints over. And then, right when you thought, okay, Colts still have a chance, number 22, Tracy Porter, when Manning threw the ball, it was like Porter just like a hawk just swooped in and grabbed that shit, man. And it was just like, all right, shit is over right there. I mean, if you were a Colts fan, that was just that was crushing. So, yeah, it was a very close game up until that point. It was a good game, and I imagine they're going fucking nuts right now in New Orleans. So,
they need an excuse to fucking party.
I know. That's what I said.
Of all the cities, Indianapolis. There's a place where it's like, we live in Indianapolis. We seriously, we need an excuse to party. Really, this place kind of sucks. And I say kinda. I don't want to insult all the Indianapolis, but I'm pretty certain most of you are sitting there going, yeah, no, New Orleans, they really didn't deserve it because they get a badass fucking party every year.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's close to Fat Tuesday already. Fat Tuesday's coming in a couple of weeks. I think the Tuesday after this one, and with the Super Bowl combined with Mardi Gras, it's gonna be like the second coming of Katrina, man. That shit's just going, instead of a water coming in, it's going to be like a wave of vomit and fluids and all kind of alcohol.
And 18-year-old girls, baby.
And titties. Just overcome the city. Get the hell out while you can.
Get on the buses. The titties are coming. The bras are breaking.
And Leon just standing there just looking at them, like coming right towards him. He's that guy who like dies. He's the one that dies in disaster movies. The guy that doesn't want to go. He's gonna go down with the ship. He's gonna stay with his home. And meanwhile,
Bear's gonna be there. It's a chocolate city.
And the lava and the water, overcomes them and they die. And with Leon, it's gonna be a big old flood of breasts just coming down on him while he's just grinning. So yeah, watch TV. You might see Leon out there somewhere. So anyway,
he'll be the guy robbing the liquor store, floating in a sea of boobies. And then Corey's going to be the guy sitting at home going, they always show the black guy doing it. They never show the white people stealing.
Damn. Yeah, except with the TV, you're going to see Leon running out with bras, like all the strippers' bras and panties and everything. I got him. So, yes, we give that guy such a hard time. He's the nicest guy in the world. Why we do that to him? Anyway, man.
Because he laughs with us.
I know, he does. He takes it all in stride until the day he just flips out and kills us all. Anyway, man, you want to get to the top 5? Because it is an interesting top 5 this week.
It's an all right top 5. But
well,
the top 5 brought to you by Spill.
Yeah, you sound like you should be there in Mardi Gras right now. You got your vomit voice on.
In the right place. Must have been the wrong time. It's the right thing, but it must do the wrong line.
That's your Dr. John right there?
That's my Dr. John, baby.
Because I thought that's your vomit voice. But hey, you don't smoke anymore, do you?
Oh, God, no, dude. I haven't smoked. I think I'm coming up. Just had my 3rd year without smoking. This November will be 4 years, yeah.
Okay. So you haven't relapsed at all? Fell off the wagon? Smoke crack, anything like that in the meantime?
No. 3 times I've smoked Cuban cigars. I have friends that come in from Europe, and they bring in a Cuban cigar for me, and I'll sit down and have a cigar with people, but haven't smoked a cigarette in over 3 years.
Oh, holy shit, man. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I got the news on while I'm talking to you, and I told you before, like before we started, there was a deer that burst into a bank, and it looks like this bear is jacking this place up. It looks like this deer came in to rob the place. It's like I don't know if it's online. I'm sure it didn't happen just here in Austin. A deer burst into a bank, and like, first of all, went into the lobby, and he just went behind like where the bank tellers are, and all these people are fucking panicked. Like, it's a small deer, it's like fucking Bambi. But I wondered, like, did this fucking deer come in with a gun or something? Anyway, the top 5, man, right here is number 5.
Number 5.
You gonna sing it?
Normally I sing it and then you follow it up, but okay, if you want to say the number and then have me sing the number and then follow it up, then we can do that too. Well, number 5.
All right, number 5 is The Tooth Fairy. $6,500,000 so it made this weekend, and so far it has brought in $34.3 million. So, earning a little bit of money there. Not exactly a mega hit, but not a failure either. Let's go to number 4.
The number 4 film.
Oh, that would be Mel Gibson's Edge of Darkness. It brought in $7 million this weekend, and so far has made $29 million, 29.1 if you really want to get down to it. As I said, the budget on that is $80 million, so it's not doing extremely well.
No, it was released in a very bad time of the year. One of the things we haven't talked about yet is this historically, this is the worst weekend of the year. Super Bowl weekend, nobody goes to see movies. Surprisingly, it's actually done particularly well in the top tier, but our bottom films, as you're noticing, you're going to see there's kind of a big dip drop-off point that's coming up here soon, but we're in the bottom 2 films. When you add them together and end up with like $15 million, you know you're having a bad week. So, but that's fairly typical of this time of year. And yeah, Edge of Darkness, I'm disappointed. I wanted more people to see this. It's a really solid film. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. Mel Gibson's awesome in it, and I was hoping more people would give it a chance.
Yeah, I kind of expected it to go out this way, because when I saw it, I was like, it's a Mel Gibson movie. That's cool, but Mel Gibson ain't what he used to be, and this movie is just kind of there.
You foul liar!
I know that I know you have a love affair with Mel Gibson.
I do, except the thing is even people who don't have a love affair with Mel Gibson look at this and go, "Wow, this is really the best he's been in a long time."
No, what I mean by that, he's not what he used to be. He's just not the draw that he used to be. I mean, he probably is a bigger draw directing than he probably is, acting these days. But especially people still have not forgotten that Jew stuff. And lately in the news with him kind of acting crazy, like I saw that interview where he was talking to that one guy and he was kind of like, "Hey, you got a dog in this fight," and I was just like, Jesus, back off. I mean,
but actually, see, that's you bringing your angle to it, because you're looking at him going, man, what an asshole. And when you actually look at these interviews, every time somebody asks a sissy, limp-wristed question about it, where they're trying to dance around it, they don't want to seem like an asshole, but they want to ask the question, he asked them point blank, he's like, what are you talking about? And they always pussy out. They always, and like where in that particular interview, he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, you've had a few kind of problems. He's like, well, what problems are you specifically referring to? Well, you had that incident 3.5 years ago.
I mean, come on. Why?
Well, no, but he asked that and he goes, okay, let me ask you real quick. Do you have a dog in this fight?
He was a little more aggressive than that, and that guy came back, and he was just kind of like, hey, you know what? Because the guy was like, I didn't really know what he meant. It kind of took me back, too, and it's like, wait a minute. It was almost like he was asking the guy, are you Jewish? Do you have a personal stake in this? And the guy even came back and was like, now I think about it, it's like, yeah, I do, really.
Well, no. Now, he said that after the interview.
Yeah, he did. That's what I'm saying. He said that after the interview.
The thing is, none of these guys are having the balls to confront him. They want to ask him the question, but they won't. And every interview he does is exactly the same, where people are asking him, rather than asking about the movie, they're in a very limp, pussy way asking about it, rather than saying, look, you had some problems with the press 3.5 years ago with your incident, and then asking a question pertaining to that. They keep asking this. They want to get him talking about, as someone who's interviewed a bunch of people, you know this. When you talk to Mel Gibson, would you ask the pussy fucking questions that these jackasses have been asking?
Actually, you know what? I would take the tact and say it first, and like, because there is a way to take it. It's like, hey, so you had some problems a while ago, and people do this. It's a routine to do that. They don't want to like just jump into it because they kind of want to sense how the guy's going to react, and that way they know to keep going or back off. And when like he does, when they get aggressive, that's when you just say, okay, this could go bad. I'm gonna back off. I mean, come on, nobody's stupid. He knows what they're talking about. We know what they're talking about. And Mel Gibson should not act that defensive towards it. I mean, I like Mel Gibson. I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, imagine. I mean, especially you, Corey. You of all people should understand this. Because you have one of those alpha type personalities as well, where once you're a really super nice, friendly guy until someone pushes you to that point, and then everybody is fucking bullshit. And if you are sitting through 50 interviews a day and you're sitting in a studio and you're doing all these satellite interviews, and these guys ask you the same pussy fucking question every time. They don't want to talk about the movie. They want to ask you about 3.5 years ago, but they don't really want to ask you about it would almost be like if we were doing interviews and all anyone wanted to talk about was the time you threw a chair.
Okay, let's just say I came out and I said something that was anti-Semitic or somewhat racist or somewhat sexist. I have to expect that backlash. I can't be surprised.
Except what you just did there, you did exactly what two of those other guys did, which is Mel Gibson did apologize. When Google Mel Gibson apology. The first thing to come up is the Times version of it, where it was his written apology that was published in dozens of newspapers, which was a personal apology from Mel Gibson, laying everything out and saying what course of action he was going to take. And you listen to that guy who the dog in the fight guy, you listen to that interview after the fact, he says he never publicly apologized. He apologized to a few people. This guy's job was to interview this particular guy and know what the fuck he was talking about, and he didn't. He still is buying into this bullshit story that Mel Gibson never apologized, and is continuing that story when Mel Gibson did apologize. He came out and said, look, I fucked up. What I did was wrong. I'm apologizing to these people. In fact, I want to go a step further. I want you people to help me. And instead, the entire community ripped him apart and said, nope, not good enough, and then turned the story into, yeah, he never apologized. And so when he's coming out and talking to these guys and they're asking about these events from 3.5 years ago, in the way they are, I totally understand why he's ripping into these guys.
Oh no, I know he apologized. I know he came out and apologized. I remember when he did that. I mean, he wrote an apology after his arrest, and I don't think that people don't think he apologized. It's that, well, I don't, I know this guy, I don't know. You say he never said he came out and apologized. I remember when he came out and apologized. Look, if I was the guy and I had that kind of history behind me and people knew it, I knew I would have to address it, especially if I got drunk and called somebody like a Jew, like I hated Jews or I did not like Jews.
After 2.5 years of being called an anti-Semite, he gets drunk one night, gets pulled over by a Jewish cop who's giving him a hard time, and he says, "Are you Jewish?"
No,
and then makes
no, it's not like it's more than like, "Are you Jewish?" It's like, "Hey, are you a Jew?" It's like accusatory, like, "Hey, you're
a Jew, aren't
you?"
Yeah, you Jews started all the wars. That's the anti-Semitic comment he made. That's what he made. He said that when he was drunk, and everything else was then sexist. The sexist remarks have pretty much been blown off and turned into a joke because nobody cares that he's sexist. Because up until that point, he was fucking Mel Gibson. Who gives a shit? But he was called anti-Semitic for 2.5 years before he made an anti-Semitic comment.
Oh no! Everybody remembers Sugar Tits too,
but they remember that as a joke. Nobody says, "You know what? That was a really horrible thing to say to a woman." It's kind of like Sugar Tits. Yeah, that's a funny, terrible comment. But nobody has come out and said Mel Gibson needs to apologize to women.
Well, also, while Sugar Tits should not be excused, it doesn't carry the hateful tone that he took when he talked about, the guy, "Hey, are you a Jew?" It's kind of like, "Hey, Sugar Tits."
How do you know what his tone was? We've only read the report written by the Jewish cop. We've never actually. They don't have it on tape. They don't have it on audio. Everybody talks like they've seen this event, and all we've seen is a published police report that they still can't find who leaked the police report from the police station that was published by the TMZ. All we've read is that one line, and from that one line added with 2.5 years of calling the guy anti-Semitic, we get that he is a horrible anti-Semite and needs to go on Oprah. He publicly apologized.
I'm saying, that's the thing. It wasn't an argument where he came out and said, "Hey, I'm defending myself because I didn't say this." I mean, why would you even accuse a guy of being a Jew if that wasn't necessary? You're being arrested. Why would you call that? And then he comes out and has to make an apology. Apology confirms that there was some wrongness there. So I like Mel Gibson, but
how did he offend you?
How did he offend me? He accused somebody of being a Jew like it was a bad thing.
He said, "Are you a Jew?" He's got a Jewish guy giving him a hard time because he's had Jewish guys giving him a hard time for 2.5 years because he made a movie about his faith and they called him anti-Semitic for it. They called him an anti-Semite for 2.5 years. He got so much shit from the Jewish community for making a movie about Christ because in the 16th century that story was used to encourage the pogroms. They then tied in every single article that was written before Passion of the Christ came out referred to his faith, the fact that he is from an offshoot version of the Catholic Church, which doesn't recognize Vatican II. They tied that into the fact that in a small clause in Vatican II, the church said, "Okay, look, we're not going to hold the Jews responsible for the death of Christ anymore. Let it go," and have pinned that on him ever since. They wanted him to be an anti-Semite, and the minute they got a hold of something that was anti-Semitic, that validated every bad thing they ever said about him.
Did they want him to be an anti-Semite, or was there evidence there of him being an anti-Semite
There was
before?
never evidence up until this thing. That's why this statement is considered such a big deal, because it was always considered the smoking gun. We finally proved it. After 2.5 years of calling him an anti-Semite, he said an anti-Semitic statement. But you have to ask yourself the question, the chicken or the egg comment. That's what's always frustrated me, is the fact that that's always been ignored in the press, that it's always, he said a horrible statement. We're going to ignore the fact that people were making horrible statements, that these same people were making horrible statements about him for 2.5 years before that. We'll leave that out of the story, because the interesting story is that a celebrity made a racist comment. But people are treating it like it's the Michael Richards thing, where he melted down on camera in front of everybody screaming and hollering. He made a terrible statement while intoxicated, while being pulled over for driving.
You don't think being intoxicated kind of reflects how you really feel at the time?
I think I think it does, and I think that if you look at it in context, that what most likely was happening was he's like, oh great, here's another Jew giving me a hard time again, who's pissed off at me. He's messing with me because I'm Mel Gibson and he thinks I'm anti-Semitic, so I'm going to give him what he wants. Not thinking because he's drunk off his ass. I don't think he actually set out to hate the Jews. I think he just kind of this was the straw that broke the camel's back, and it was a rather unfortunate incident that he chose somebody that had nothing to do. That was a cop messing with him, and it's kind of like that. It's kind of like when a cop pulls you over and you think that there must be some reason, that it's because you have long hair, because you're black, or because this cop's having a bad day that they pulled you over. You don't want to think that it's your fault. So I think in Mel Gibson's head, he's like, oh, great, this guy's just pulling me over and not letting me off the hook because he's Jewish, and he's going to make me pay for making Passion of the Christ. And so that anger lashed out. That is what makes more sense to me than the fact that he was really an anti-Semite harboring it, and it just happened to finally slip out.
And by the way, I never really called him an anti-Semite.
No, you didn't. But
I think that
many people have.
I think that hey, look, for him to make that kind of comment kind of reflects some anti-Semitic views on his side, and he has too much of a background of anti-Semitism to
No. His father has.
No, and that's what I'm saying. When I say his background, it's his father too. And you know what? It's like people are going to ask these kind of questions from him, and this is a chance for him to come out and say, hey, you know what? Yes, this is what happened, and nobody's going to forget, no matter how long it is, especially when you've been out the public eye for a while and you come back in. This is your chance to come out and actually clear the air. The more defensive you get about it, the more wrong you look, which is my point here. It's not accusing Mel Gibson of doing anything so much as it is Mel Gibson coming out after years of absence and not talking to the public, and then acting surprised and defensive when people bring this up. This is your moment to actually be cool about it and make people and win people over. That's all I'm saying.
Sure, and it's also the chance to be a reporter who asks, some halfway decent questions and actually gets in the manner in a true interview rather than trying to half-ass Mike Wallace it. Because these guys are trying to ask pointed questions, but being real pussies about it. I don't defend anything that Mel Gibson did or said, because what he said was not only reprehensible, he went for the cheesy lame slur. It's almost as if he were going off on blacks and decided to call them lazy porch monkeys. It's like, really? That's where you went? You went to the Jews, start all the wars? If you're going to make an anti-Semitic comment, go nuts, dude. Don't go to the cheap, lame, half-ass. Come on, man. He hit the cliche.
Yeah, come on. He was drunk. He wasn't on his anti-Semitic game at the time. Come on.
See, that's also part of what leads me to believe that he's not a full-on anti-Semite, because he went to the cheap, lame. It's like the lame comment that people make that they repeat that they heard someone else make because it's the only thing they could think up. It's like listening to people who haven't seen Avatar who just go, oh yeah, it's fucking Dances with Wolves. It's like, dude, you haven't seen the fucking movie. Shut up. You're just repeating what you saw in South Park. It's literally one of those where it's like, really, that's the comment, and people 3.5 years later are still saying it's an unforgivable thing, a half-ass comment that he said to two people on a dark road when he was drunk. If as far as he went to apologize, let it go, because it's really a let it go kind of thing. Like Michael Richards is a different story. What Michael Richards did, swearing in front of a room full of people and screaming all the terrible things that he screamed, by comparison, you put those two things together and you compare them to one another, and there's nothing. But Michael Richards hasn't endured the same type of stuff that he has. He was able to come back much earlier without there being much fan.
Mel Gibson's a bigger star too, so it's bigger star, bigger problems. You and I got two different opinions on Mel Gibson, even though we're probably not that far off.
No,
I don't think
we had this problem back when it first happened as well, because we had the big arguments about whether or not we should hold you accountable for all the things you've told us when you were drunk.
Yeah, but I don't have Mel Gibson's star power, our money, our spotlight, So
This is true.
and I've never like called any, and I've never.
That's the excuse why we shouldn't hold you accountable.
And I've never and I've never gone off and used any kind of anti-Semitic, sexist, or racist
You've
remarks.
made some white comments when you were drunk.
Oh please, what did I say? Crackers?
That is a highly offensive word.
which I don't think I did. I think I asked you to pass me the crackers, and you got mad at me. I was eating chili at the time.
Motherfucker, that hurts. That hurts. That speaks back to a history of slavery, of which a terrible, terrible time in our white history. And I'm offended that you dare to use that word, sir.
Excuse me, could you hand me that breaded snack right there so that I could put it in my chili? So, anyway, what?
Can we get to the number 3?
I know, Jesus. I should start eating goldfish now. All right, so let's go ahead.
Actually, we're almost done with the fucking podcast. We're number 3. Way to go, Mel. You know what? We had to do the Mel Gibson talk one time or another.
I know it was bound to happen. It was so we got it out there. It's out of our system now. We can move on. So hey, let's go to number 3.
The number 3 film about time is
From Paris with Love, which stars one of my favorites, John Travolta, another famous anti-Semite. No, he's not. That movie brought in 8.
No. He's a famous Scientologist. Slight difference.
Oh, there's a difference between them. Okay, I did not realize. Sorry. Let's see. No, I'm sorry. The Scientology is the one that has all the Jews in it. I think that's even like almost a second Jewish religion. But that movie brought in $8.1 million this weekend.
You're going to get letters for saying that.
No, I'm not. Nobody listens to me. And the movie cost $52 million to make. It is from that company, Luc Besson's, what it's called, Europa. Yeah. The one that the same company that made Taken, same director that made Taken. It's not a bad action flick, man. Not all that great, but I thought it was going to be really bad looking at that trailer, and it's actually a lot of fun. I still gave it a rental at the time, and I thought the movie would have done a lot better, but
going this weekend,
considering that we have the number 2 movies that it had to go up against, they had to settle for a little less of a take this weekend at the box office.
Well,
go ahead.
I keep hearing the exact same thing about this film. I've only talked to one person who hated it, and everybody else says, yeah, it's a piece of shit, but I really had fun with it, and kind of had that same kind of rental mentality that you have, where it's like, it's worth seeing, but don't break your neck to go see it because it's fun, but it's not good.
Exactly. You're exactly right, and it's fun because of John Travolta. If John Travolta was taking out that movie, it would be a run-of-the-mill action film. Really, John Travolta is great in this film, man. He's a lot of fun. Did you hear different?
No, I haven't specific. Most of my friends know not to drop the spoilers on me. They'll give me the impressions, and that's the impression that I've gotten from everybody. But nobody specifically said, "Oh, dude, John Travolta's a lot of fun."
Yeah, John Travolta. I haven't had that much fun watching John Travolta in a long time. He's really cool. He makes that movie, and it almost hurt me to see him in a movie that he had to make a better film, because without him it's a bland action film. I wish the movie could have been a little more inspired overall. But anyway, yeah, if you see it, you won't be disappointed, but you're exactly right. Don't rush out to catch it. So you want to go number 2?
Gotta take me a number 2.
Is that coffee getting to you now?
Number 2. Yeah.
Let's see.
Coffee and Mel Gibson talk. That'll wake you up.
That's enough bullshit right there to last for
Best
days.
Best part of waking up is Mel Gibson bullshit in your cup.
Actually, that might actually be Mel Gibson shit in your cup. He's crazy.
Now, you know what? I will acknowledge that he is a tad bit crazy.
Yeah, and I kind of like Mel Gibson like that. I think he's actually turned into Mad Max in real life.
I'm waiting for him to build the car and drive around the country show.
And leather and everything. Come here! Now,
oh shit, it's Sunday morning. I got to get to Mass. Anyone know where I can get it in Latin?
Let's see, number 2. Oh, this is where it gets cool now, or at least interesting. We had the king of the last, 2 years fall out of the number 1 spot.
7 weeks.
Yes. Okay, so Avatar has been number 1 for 7 weeks, and it finally fell to number 2. Brought in $23.6 million this weekend, but that's okay because the movie has made $100 trillion so far. No, it's made $630.1 million, and that is the that's just the domestic gross. I think, I don't know, it's like 1 point something billion right now. It's worldwide. Do you know the exact number?
No, I don't have it right in front of me. It topped $2 billion worldwide.
Okay, so it's
It crossed the $2 billion mark.
Yes, highest grossing movie in the entire universe. So, what is the movie that actually toppled Avatar? That would be number one.
A Nick Sparks movie.
Yes, Dear John. And this movie came out of
Dear
nowhere.
John.
Jesus, man. Now, I went to see with co-host From Paris with Love at midnight. At the same theater, Dear John was playing. Walk out of the movie From Paris with Love. Apparently these movies have similar running times, because we walk out and my God, it was like walking on the set of fucking Oprah, man. There were these girls out in the lobby. I mean, the lobby was full of girls who were crying after leaving this movie. And I was like, holy Christ, this is the movie that's going to like topple Avatar. Out of all the movies that came out, it's going to be fucking Dear John. And
Yeah,
sure enough,
Sony has been they've been referring to it as the giant killer or the dragon slayer, that we've finally beaten Avatar. And it's like, well, Avatar's kind of finally run its course. It's been out for almost 2 months, so you just happen to be the movie standing there.
Exactly.
But the thing is it made how much money? 32?
it made $32.4 million. So a Nicholas Sparks movie that I think it was a book that already had sort of like a built-in audience, so they actually brought that to the box office.
Right, it was. It's a Nicholas Sparks novel.
Yeah.
But what you need to keep in mind is not only did it beat Avatar, it is the highest grossing film ever on a Super Bowl weekend. So the closest anyone came was the Miley Cyrus movie, which opened to 31.7 million. I want to say it's 31 point something, and they were hoping to beat it. And if the actual show that it is around 32.4, then it is the highest grossing Super Bowl weekend movie of all time.
And that was smart, because I guess it's kind of counter programming to the Super Bowl. You know, Super Bowl, I guess, I don't know if it's still sort of like a male, dominated thing, a male oriented thing, but hey, you brought out a movie that appeals to females on Super Bowl weekend, and that's exactly where they went. I think they all went.
You know what I think it is?
What's that?
You know what I think it is? I think it's one of those things where you put out a movie that women really want to see on Super Bowl weekend, and they look at their husbands and boyfriends and go, look, we're going to go see this movie. No, baby, I don't want to see Dear John. What are you doing on Sunday? Because I think maybe we'll go out. Oh, no, baby, that's a Super Bowl, and I'm going to have all the guys over, and I was hoping you would make some snacks. Yeah, let me take you to a movie. Whatever you want to see, baby. It's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit of Super Bowl weekend quid pro quo to a certain extent.
I got you, because I thought you were going to say, like, hey, it's a Super Bowl. No, I want to go to a movie. I'd be like, divorce rates will be high if girls pull that shit on their husband.
No. I think it's look, you've got Sunday, give me Friday.
Yeah.
The Friday numbers were insane on this. They didn't just beat Avatar. They beat Avatar by several $1 million on Friday. And this is a much bigger opening than they expected. They expected it to open big, but they were thrilled. They were doing backflips over how well it did. I think it really is a bit of weekend quid pro quo, where it's like, look, you get Sunday, but you got to take me out to a movie or let me go to a movie with the girls.
Yeah, because for a Super Bowl weekend, I mean, that's a lot of money. You know what I mean? It's like
it's a record-breaking weekend for Super Bowl weekend. So I think what we're probably going to see from here on out, at least for the next few years, is chick flicks and possibly even competing chick flicks on Super Bowl weekend. Yeah. It appears that that's the winning formula.
Yeah, they just have to wait and see. It might work. They might have kind of jumped onto something here. And the movie cost $25 million to make, so movie's doing it very well, exceptionally well. Channing Tatum, that's the luckiest son of a bitch in the world. That guy, I like the guy, but that guy, he cannot talk. I'm sorry, he can talk, but he just talks like he talks like he's a black dude. Like a lazy black dude. And
what are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say
what are you trying to say about what, he can't talk like that?
Why, Carlisle?
Why? That's a black thing?
Hey, why, Carlisle? Are you a black? You a black? Why are you questioning me this?
Are you going to say us whites start all the wars now? Is that what you're going to say?
No, I'm just
That
saying
we have a history of taking slaves? Are you going to say that we have a history of oppressing other races?
No, that's
Because
not exactly
that
what
is
I'm saying at
wrong,
all.
sir. That is wrong.
No, see, you misunderstand me. What I'm saying is that blacks are lazy.
Please, nobody
Black-
read into
no,
that as if I were trying to comment on anything.
Yeah,
on
no,
there.
I know. No, but I'm trying to say that blacks are lazy and shiftless, and if you talk like one, you simply cannot be a leading man like Channing
well,
Tatum.
see, that makes perfect sense. That plays into everything I was taught.
Of course. So we agree. No. It's just I really now he kind of talks like he's from the streets, and when he's in these movies, I never expected him to become like the leading man that he is. He has the look for it, so I'm not exactly all that surprised.
Is it that kind of experience you have every time I say the phrase "motherfucker"? Where it's just like, wow, you are just the whitest guy known to man. How can you possibly allow motherfucker to escape your lips? Is that what it sounds like when you listen to Channing Tatum?
It's not so much that you say motherfucker. See, no, Channing Tatum would take the R off of motherfucker. He'd be like, motherfucker. Where you add about 5 or 10 R's after that, motherfucker. You know,
Motherfucker.
Which
Ruffles have ridges, motherfucker.
yeah, ruffles have motherfucking ridges. And
What motherfucker doesn't have an R on it? It's got to be motherfucker.
if you want to be street about it, yeah, you gotta take that
But
R.
I don't. The closest thing I have to a street is out in front of my house. I mean, I don't get street.
I might even
You
say,
don't get street either. You grew up in fucking Waco, motherfucker.
Hey, I'm not the one talking like Channing Tatum though. I talk like a proper white person. Thank you very much. No, look,
So you got to put on the Eddie Murphy racing.
if you should see the reviews. Like I could not mock a white person without like doing an insulting, stereotypical black guy doing the white person type voice. I just couldn't do it. I tried all kind of.
Drive cars like this.
Yeah.
Cars like this.
I mean, I turned into like a British aristocrat trying to talk like a white person after a while when I couldn't get it. Hello, lady. How are you this evening? I couldn't get it down. So I don't know. Maybe I am more street than I thought. By the way, you can also add an A and an H at the end of motherfucker if you want to. Just to
Motherfucker.
yeah, motherfucker. So
Fucker.
is that what you say after you drink your coffee? Motherfucker.
Fucker.
I knew you were gonna start doing it. Beautiful. Even more beautiful. What's the name of that song? Yellow or Yellow Number 5? What's the name of that fucking song?
I don't fucking know. It's Chicka Chicka.
Okay.
It's the Ferris Bueller song. That's how we all remember it.
Oh man, anything else going on that you want to discuss before we move on to
Dude,
email?
seriously, we have time for 1 or 2 questions at this point.
I'm all for it. Let's do it then.
Let's do it. All right. Drawing Blanks asks, is there a mainstream or alternative musician that you would want to someday score a film?
You know what? That's a good question because I've seen what would you call it? I don't know if you call it underground or just alternative band. They're an electronic band, and I thought they would be so cool to score a science fiction film because a lot of their videos kind of have that retro science fiction film feel to it, and you don't know what they look like. And that band is Daft Punk, and Daft Punk is doing the score, from what I understand, for you know which one I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Okay, let me make sure.
I know which band you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know Daft Punk really well, but I didn't realize they were doing a score for something.
I think they're doing the score for Tron 2.
Oh yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah.
You just had a weird kind of thing happen with your sound quality.
That's you, man. I keep hearing my echo over there.
Really, it's me?
Yeah, I think so. I keep hearing my echo on your end.
Okay, how about now?
I don't know. I mean, I guess doesn't matter at this point because we're almost done. But I have been hearing like a weird echo going on over there.
Weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just now know you had things just changed a second ago. So
okay. Let me make sure that I haven't changed my mic settings or anything. You can still hear me though, right?
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, things look good on my end. Anyway, so how about yourself?
Diesel Boy. There's this great drum and bass artist named Diesel Boy who's just he's brilliant. I've been listening to him for over a decade. Really incredible music. If you're not familiar with drum and bass, it's an offshoot of electronic music that focuses just on heavy drums with a high BPM, generally somewhere in the 140 to 200 range, 200 beats per minute, that is. Coupled with heavy bass lines and sometimes the occasional pads and various loop samples and such. And he just makes some incredible music. And I've always wanted to see him score an action film, something like one of the Luc Besson films, where it's just something like District B13, where it's almost nonstop action the whole time and just have this really cool Diesel Boy drum and bass soundtrack. I've always wanted to see something like that.
Nice. Let me just say this real quick, too. Now, you know who Goldfrapp is, right?
No.
Okay, you've heard some songs from Goldfrapp. You've probably heard that song. I say, ooh la 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 la. I say, ooh la 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 la. You never heard that before? It was on a Coke commercial. Anyway, Goldfrapp consists of two people, Alison Goldfrapp and a guy named Will Gregory. You have heard some Goldfrapp songs before, and Will Gregory scored one of her album. Well, I say it was scored because it sounds like a score. Goldfrapp had this album called Felt Mountain back in I think it was like 2000 or something like that. Anyway, this guy did the score for it, the music for it, and it sounds just like a beautiful score that could belong in any sort of sweeping romantic or dramatic film. And that guy, I would love to hear him score a movie, just without the vocals of Alison Goldfrapp, just make the music for it. And Will Gregory is the guy, so that's my other choice. I just want to mention that because I've always thought about Goldfrapp doing music for a movie. So
right on.
Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, well, here's a very quick one from Metal Virgin. Why didn't you guys review Boondock Saints 2?
Because we didn't have a screening here of Boondock Saints 2.
Not only did we not have a screening, the reason why we did not review it, I was really eager to review it. It did not open here until a month after it opened. It opened in many theaters on October 31st, and it didn't open here till Thanksgiving weekend. So it was out a month already by the time it had come around, and they didn't offer a screening to us even when that happened. And so it was literally one of those things that we were caught up in screener season. And it was just like, fuck that movie. If they didn't want to show it to us and they wanted to bring it to Texas, it didn't come to Texas till a month later. So it was literally like, you know what, we can't really review that. I mean, what are we going to do? So that's why.
Yeah. But I will say this, we did run a Boondock Saints 2 ad on our site that paid very well. So, and they did that for several weeks. They renewed it. So, while I wasn't the biggest fan of Boondock Saints and didn't see Boondock Saints 2, I do appreciate Boondock Saints 2 for giving us some money. So, anyway, you got another question?
Well, why don't you go to yours while I pull up a final one? Do you have one ready, or you?
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Go for it.
Yes, I do. This is kind of cool here. This is from Meg, and Meg says, "I am a member of the Savannah Derby Devils from Savannah, Georgia. What we often do is decorate our helmets with various bumper stickers, and I noticed that the Spill merch store doesn't have any. So I'm guessing that the Savannah Derby Devils are one of those roller skating.
It's called roller
derby girls. Yeah. So she says, I would love to represent you guys while I'm skating and about. So is there any possibility for Spill bumper stickers in the future? Thanks so much." And the answer to that is, we are talking about it. We have been talking about merchandise besides T-shirt, upping the brand of the T-shirts, getting the store more recognizable on the front page. And I have really been pushing for stickers because I think stickers would be cool. And not only would stickers be cool, but it would be cool to see people put stickers on things like maybe in subways, put them on the posters and the subways because people are always defacing those. Not that we are totally encouraging that, but it'd be kind of cool to see people put our faces on those things and take pictures of it and send it to us. So, yeah, we are talking about all kind of merchandise now that we are going through a major overhaul of the site, and hopefully that will happen sooner than later. So.
And I happen to be a Derby fan, and so if Savannah ever comes to play our precious sacred Texas Roller Girls, drop us a line and let us know, because I would love to come out and check you guys out. I gotta say, I'm probably going to be rooting for my girls, but but yeah, if you guys out there have not been paying attention, roller derby has come back in a strong way. It's a really awesome league going on right now. There are a lot of great teams. Austin is where it kind of was reborn, and we have 4 teams here that are all kind of together. And you, depending on how good you are, you get on different teams. I have a bunch of friends up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, who are in one way, shape, or form associated with the Minneapolis Minnesota Roller Girls. And I've got a buddy who's a ref up there, and then I've got a buddy who's a ref up in Canada. So I've actually got friends scattered all throughout the country who are tied into the roller derby thing right now, and it is just such a good time. You need to find out if your city has it, and if it does, go out and support these girls, because it's not a sport where these girls are making money for it. It's something they go out and do for the hell of it because they're fucking badass. So go out, and if you get a chance, support your local roller girls and check out a match. It's a really fun sport. It's not like the pro wrestling that it was in the 70s. It's its own thing now. It's real sport. It's got real strategy, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of roller derby bouts. I have either friends who are dating roller girls, or I know some roller girls, and I've had a lot of fun with those. So yeah, if she does come to those to actually take on the Texas roller derby girls, I would like to go too. So,
and if you're in Savannah and listening to us and not going to the roller derby matches, go and support your fellow Spilio and check her out.
Yeah, there you go. I wonder how big it is there. Roller derby in Georgia.
I don't know. I mean, we have. It's not huge here, but we still have 4 teams. It's. I mean, it's sufficiently popular enough to sustain it, but it more people need to get involved and follow this, because it really is a fun and very cool sport. And Whip It just came out on DVD and
just
Blu-ray.
About to say, yeah.
It's very sexed up, so if you watch that, don't expect it to. It's not as violent as Whip It is. Whip It kind of cranked it up a bit. They brought in real roller girls to technically advise, but they really did kind of sex it up for the movie and make it look more violent. But it's a good representation of the badass atmosphere of the girls who are roller derby,
and you get to see a lot of Austin in the background, at least Congress, left and right,
especially,
up and down.
Especially for a movie that wasn't totally shot in Austin, which is sad. But they shot the exteriors here in Austin. They even went to the Alamo Draft House at one point, but most of the film was shot elsewhere.
Yeah. Do you have another question?
Trying to find one more. There's a bunch of crazy questions. Oh, here's the one I was looking for. What are Corey's thoughts on the Blind Sides Oscar nominations? I think what he meant is, what are yours and Corey's thoughts? But yeah, so
no, he probably meant mine, because he knows that
This is Shane MD, by the way.
He probably knows that there's like I have brought some racial discussions in about that, so he probably wants to know what I think about the film being nominated, considering the things I've said in the past. And we'll both answer this, but let me just say that I'm not angry about the movie being nominated. I'm not sitting up here boycotting the film. I have actually defended the movie as far as Sandra Bullock's performance, because I think she's great in the film. I don't think that she deserves to win, but being nominated, yeah, sure, okay. My problem with the movie, and I've said this before, and people can take it as something militant, aggressive, racist, or whatever, but I'm not. I just simply don't like movies where, it seems like you have the great white hope come in to save, the poor black people, and because it's just a comfortable thing for people to do, instead of either taking the I think it would have been nice to actually maybe tell the story through the eyes of the kid himself. And so, yeah, I'm not comfortable with the film, but I don't hate it. I actually think it's a decent film. So,
I got a friend who works at a movie theater, and he works at a movie theater out in the sticks, and that movie, they're still showing the movie. And it's just only within the last few weeks died down to where you can actually, on weekends they were selling out screenings still, 2 months after it had been released. And one woman walked up one time to buy a ticket She's like, I'd like one for The Blind Side, please. And he's like, okay, and sells her the ticket. And she just looks up at him and goes, this is the movie that's going to change America. That's what I heard from my friends. And she turned and walked into the movie. And the thing is that people believe this. And to a certain extent, while I totally get Corey's not wrong on his opinion, by the same token, we still have some ignorant fucking people in this country. And if a movie like this is what it takes to kind of wake them up and kind of balance them out, and open their eyes a bit more, then so be it. I think when it comes to the Oscar nominations, I think Sandra Bullock did an incredible job in that film. I think she did a really great job, and I think this is her shot at an Oscar. She hasn't been picking Oscar roles, and her career has not. This has been her best year ever, hands down. But her career has not been one where she was poised to ever capture an Academy Award. So I think this nomination and the potential at it is a big deal for her, and I think it's totally appropriate. I don't have a problem with the nominations it got. I can't remember if it got nominations elsewhere. It doesn't have a chance anywhere else. This is the one category.
She won. Sandra Bullock, I think.
Oh, it was nominated for Best Picture.
Oh,
which it's not going to win.
Oh no, I thought you knew that. Yeah, no. I thought that's why
right.
I was asking the question.
I did. I just totally forgot.
And that, by the way, that woman's comments of this is a movie that would change America is one of the reasons why I really dislike the attitudes that this movie is influencing, because that's the kind of attitude, that's exactly what I expect people to say. As long as black people seem non-threatening or subservient, or and even though the guy went on to like get an education and everything, he's portrayed as a big dumb lumbering kid to the movie. As long as we seem intellectually inferior, then a lot of people are very comfortable with that. Again, you want another movie that's going to change America? Like I said, hold on, let me finish here. The thing that's going to change America. See, that same person who says this is a movie that's going to change America would probably, I can't speak for this person, but I can speak for other people who think that that's cool. But I'm gonna go on I'm gonna hit this subject here. They would still feel uncomfortable if they had to watch a movie where not even a white guy with a black woman, they would be the person that would feel very uncomfortable if they saw a black man with a white woman. That's why I don't like that kind of movie. It's not bold. It's easy. It's simple. It's not offensive. It's not changing shit in that movie. You know what I mean?
Well, I disagree. I mean, what the thing that really works about that film, people are identifying with are not, oh, hey, I don't have to be scared of black people. It's that this main character really stands up against a white community that's looking down on her for taking in a black kid and saying, look, a person's a person. It doesn't fucking matter what color he is. I'm gonna stand up for this kid and get this kid an education. And while there is, I can definitely see that aspect of the pity social state concept. At the same time, the thing that people are identifying with is that it's okay to tell your friends, fuck off. There's nothing wrong with there is no real color barrier. And the idea that you don't have to feel that social pressure, and the fact that her character is idealized in that she doesn't take shit from anybody, and that allows her to step outside her comfort zone and tell her friends and coworkers, look, this is what I'm going to do. I don't fucking care. This kid's part of my family now. That's what people are identifying with. They're not identifying with, hey, it's okay because he's not a threatening black person. I mean, one of the scenes in the movie that is kind of it's white woman porn is what it is. It's suburbanite porn.
Yeah.
That the scene where she stands up to the guy who's going to pull a gun out on her, and she tells him that she's got a gun, that she's a member of the NRA, and she does the whole big puffing up the chest. Yeah, you think anyone's going to have a problem if I shoot you? That's that scene that's truly pornographic in that film of I understand kind of getting that idealized fuck you moment.
No, I understand that. It's the movie that gives the America this false sense of progression and security, and is not there. I mean,
why is it a false sense?
Because, like I said, it's a movie where it's made to make like the white audience feel charitable. Because I know, I even know some black people like the movie, like my mom like it, but there's a lot of black people also feel like, yeah, same old thing where it's like, well, as long as we're docile and non-threatening, then white people really feel like they've gone out and championed the for the sake of the black people.
And then we go and shell out money to watch a black guy kick the shit out of white guys in fucking Book of Eli. It's not like you're not allowed to have powerful black characters. It's not like we don't have black heroes in society.
No, I know that.
No.
I know.
This is just that movie that's talking. I mean, this movie is really geared at the fucking rednecks, and you have to know how to talk to rednecks.
Oh,
and
yeah,
that's what
I know.
This movie does.
I know,
and,
but
and
you know what? I don't think I should have to be. And it's exactly that. And when I say white people, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about America, is 100% racist.
You're not talking about the white guy who's having a show with a black guy right now. You're not talking about that white guy.
No, I'm not talking about you. No, not. But I am saying this, that it's like, the people out there who think that they really are being progressive are not. They're not going to. This movie is not progressive. It's not that progressive film that they think it is. A lot of those people.
No, it's not.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my problem with the film.
It's progressive for the type of people who progress is like, glacially paced. Yeah. I mean, that's just it. These are the people. Keep in mind that this was made for the audience that are looking at Obama and think he's a communist.
Oh yeah, and I know that
what he's doing is socialism. It's like if you actually, yes, I'm sure from that far to the right.
Well, listen to what I'm saying right here is like I'm caught in a position right now of having to say I'm having to defend both sides because a lot of people are going to write it and they're going to say, oh, you're full of shit. Look, we got a black president. And yes, people are going to say, look at Will Smith and look at and look at Denzel Washington. I know this. I expect this argument to happen. No, I don't think that this is a country that has not progressed. I think it has. But when I see a movie like The Blind Side, where, it like I said, you have to be. There's a certain image that you have to put out there in order to reach people. I don't ever think I've had to dumb myself down to want to reach anybody, and that's why it offends my sensibilities. And and keep in mind, people, before you come in and say that I'm being all hard ass and everything, the first thing I said was there's just aspects of the film I don't like. As a whole, I think it's an okay film, and I like Sandra Bullock in it. It's just like I said, I don't like movies where black people have to be a little soft in order to get people to say, "Oh, now we're making progress." No, that's not progress to me. So don't run with what my words here, and don't think I'm sitting up here being a hard ass about it. Like I said, I have to look at things like recently, and I just said this in a people who heard the call-in show I did this weekend. This is one of the things that really offends me, and this is why I think these movies are kind of soft and don't really make that much of a difference. Disney was going to actually put a white prince in The Princess and the Frog. I heard this rumor, and somebody told me. I still don't know if it's true, but I heard rumors, and Noah had said that she had heard this. Now, I don't want to come down too hard on the film because I don't know if it's 100% true yet. But if it is true, see, that's the kind of thing I think people should really be aggressively trying to talk about. Because, like I said, if that is true that they're going to have a white prince in that movie, do you think Disney would have ever considered making a black prince get with a white princess? Those are the kind of things that bug me. Meanwhile, we're sitting up here talking about, The Blind Side is such a wonderful thing, and race relations are so cool right now. It's like, no. So, anyway, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
But you got anything else?
No, it's we are way over time now.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess that's it.
Hey, you got to rant about black men getting with white women, and I got to rant about Mel Gibson. So this is we'll call this the annual venting show.
Oh, it is. I like these discussions.
We both got our crazy out this week.
Yes, and I like that. We don't have to sit up here and just be giggly and jokey all the time. I don't mind having these serious conversations or talking about issues like that, other than films and funny stuff. So anyway, man. I will be mentioning this a lot, though, on every podcast, just so people would know. We have been approved for the Spill Party in June, on June 25th. We have our budget's been approved. Some of our venues are being looked at heavily, so we will be building that up more and more as time passes. And we'll have more concrete news coming up, like I said, on probably every podcast we talk about as it comes along. So, anyway, that's it. If you have nothing else, I'm ready to get out of here.
All right. Well, good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.